a job the fastest. All right. So you want to have a strategy and a direction on where to go, the kind of jobs you need to apply to, and how to land those jobs. So if you know somebody who is in the same situation trying to land a job, they're frustrated, they're mentally tired, psychologically drained, get them into this session today. All right. So let's get started. Okay, so we get to the main meat of our session today, but just before we get started, I want you to type into the chat. I'd love to know where you're joining us from today. So type into the chat. Let's know where you are joining us from today. So if you're joining from London in the UK, joining from Edinburgh, joining from Leeds, type into the chat. I'd love to know. Nancy's from the UK. Fantastic. Jude is from Los Angeles in the US, Manchester, Olabi. Brilliant. Doncaster. Absolutely fantastic. All right. So let's dive into the main meat of our session today, why we are all here. All right. So just to be sure that you can all see my slide. So why are we here today? We are here to discuss the career path that would land you a job, especially a visa-sponsored job. Okay. Now, for so many people on the call today, and for those that would still join us, you fall into different categories, and I'll break it down very quickly. And I'm sure one of these categories would resonate with you. Now, some of you are currently on your post-study visa. You've done your master's, you've completed your master's, and now you're trying to apply to jobs. But guess what? The months are counting down. So every single month that goes by, it takes away from the period you have left on your post-study visa, and you want to secure that job that would sponsor you. Okay, so some of the people here today fall into this category. You're on your post-study visa, you're a dependent, you're trying to land a visa-sponsored job. All right. Now we have another category of people here today. Some of you are currently switching. You are career switchers. You're moving from the warehouse job, from the retail job, from the customer care job, from the healthcare job, moving into a career path within the tech ecosystem. Some of you fall into that category today. And for some of you, you are qualified. You have the skills in some of the areas I'll be sharing with you today. However, whenever you put out applications, you get rejections. Even immediately you hit send, before it gets to the other side, you're already rejected. You keep on getting rejections upon rejections upon rejections. What are you doing wrong? And what should you start doing today? And we also have some people here who are exhausted mentally, exhausted emotionally, and you don't know what to do. So many changes in the UK, so many changes to immigration. It's confusing, it's frustrating, and it's tiring. But in the midst of all this chaos, you want to ensure that facts are your friend. You have a strategy, you know what to do, you know where you're headed, irrespective of all the noise around you. Okay. So I want to start by saying this. If you're in the UK today, or you're in the US, for some of you joining us from, the US, from Canada, and you're looking for a job, a visa sponsored job, you're getting rejections. You really cannot get a headway in terms of all the applications you've been putting out. It's not your fault. You are not unlucky. The system itself can be very confusing. The different changes, the rules change today, tomorrow, it's a different policy here and there. You don't just know what to do. And I'll be sharing with you today exactly what you need to start doing. All right. The scariest part is not the rejections that you get. It's not knowing if what you're doing is the right thing or the wrong thing. You don't know if what you're doing is right or wrong. So what I'll be showing you today, you'd leave this session today understanding the right career path that would land you a job in the next 6 to 8 months. Okay, I'd help you identify those areas. I'd also help you learn the skills to land a job. If you want to transition into a new career path, how do you learn the skills? Because how you learn the skills determines if you would land a job or not. I'd also show you how to gain experience. Today, I want you to forget everything you know in terms of looking at things from your own perspective. We're going to look at things from the employer's perspective. What would the employers want from me? I need to put those things in place so that I can be attractive to the employers. And one of the things employers would want from you is your work experience. Okay, so how do you gain work experience to showcase that you are the best candidate for that job? I'll show you how to do that today. And of course, I'd also show you how to start your journey to a high paying job, how to start your journey to landing a visa sponsored job today. How do you start today? Okay, so let's dive in. For those of you meeting us for the very first time, welcome to Tenalytics. We are the leading educational technology company focused on helping professionals, helping people like you transition into high paying jobs across the tech ecosystem. Over the last 5 years, we've helped people across different areas, over 3,400 plus people to transition from healthcare into data analytics, from accounting into project management, from care worker, support worker into cybersecurity analysts, penetration testers, agile project managers, and so on and so forth across the UK, the US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and even across Asia. All right. And for me, I'll be leading the session today. My name is Adeza Suleiman. I have over a decade experience cutting across management consulting and data analytics, data science, data engineering. Founding Tenalytics and also the co-founder of Amdari, I've been able to help over 3,400 plus people to move from no tech background, no knowledge, no idea within the tech ecosystem, no experience to landing their very first jobs. And I'll be showing you how they did it step by step, practical, hands-on, step by step. By the time we are done with our session today, you would have a good idea on what you need to start doing, what you're probably doing wrong, and what you must add to the strategy that you would get you that job eventually. Okay. My experience spans across data analytics, data engineering, currently work as a contractor in Canada, helping businesses create their ETL pipelines and transition into organizations that are data driven. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK. I've studied, I've worked in the UK. I've worked in the US remotely from Nigeria, back when I was in Nigeria, helping organizations transition from Tableau reports to Power BI reports and so on and so forth. I've worked with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst, as a management information systems analyst. And I've also worked with FITC, owned by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Bankers Committee. My experience spans across multiple sectors from educational technology to energy to sports, financial services, and automobile while I was in the UK. So I'll be sharing a bit of my experience with you. All right. And some of the things that possibly currently is holding you down from landing those jobs. All right. Now, our theme for today's session is act fast and act smart. Write it down somewhere. I want you to have a notepad. I want you to have a pen and take things down so that you can take things away from today's session. Act fast and act smart. And why do we have to act fast and act smart? You want to get a visa sponsored job. You're in the UK, for example. All right. Or you want to land a high paying job. You're in the US, you're in Canada. You are thinking of permanent residency. You want to get into career path that would help you do that. I want you to know to get visa sponsorship, you must look like somebody that any organization would hire without visa sponsorship. I'll say that again. To get visa sponsorship, you must look like someone they would hire even without visa sponsorship. So imagine getting that job and the job doesn't come with visa sponsorship. Take it away. Take sponsorship out of the equation. Take permanent residency out of the equation. Can I get this job? Can I compete with the type of people that would likely get this job? Do I have the skills? Do I have the experience? Okay, so you must have this etched at the back of your mind that you must first, look inwards. Can I get the job before you start even looking at sponsorship and so on and so forth? Okay. So I wanted us to start with this because it's absolutely important for us to have this at the back of our minds. Now, for so many people in the UK today, the thinking is the job market is broken. There are no jobs, candidates applying to jobs everywhere, but no one is calling you back. You're not even getting interviews. You don't even have the opportunity to get into the room to convince a potential employer they are the right candidate for the job after numerous applications here and there. Okay. Now, the job market is not broken. What is broken is the approach to how you land those jobs. The approach, looking at things from the employer's perspective, because the employer, on the other hand, is also complaining. While you are applying to jobs and you're not getting feedbacks, the employer is also complaining that I'm searching for candidates. I need to hire today. I need to employ talent across multiple roles, but nobody is qualified. So there is a skill shortage, even though there are opportunities available. All right. Now, some big lies that we've come to terms with is number one is there are no jobs. Okay. A lot of people said this last year. Last year, we helped over 460 people who came through 10 Analytics. 460 plus people landed jobs in 2025 who went through 10 Analytics, completed their programs with us, and they were able to land jobs. Over 460 people. There are no jobs is one of the biggest lies a lot of times you'd get to hear people say because they are not getting opportunities. Last year alone, one of the myth I want to debunk today is in the UK alone, the job market grew at 0.8%, marginally. Yes, minimal improvement compared to 2024. But there were more jobs were created. The job market grew compared to 2024. Looking at the general economy, even though the UK economy struggled in creating jobs, people were leaving the UK and so on and so forth. Jobs in the tech ecosystem grew by 1.6%, double the general economy. So what this simply means is if I needed to get a job in 2025 and I had skills in the tech ecosystem, I'd likely get that job 2 times faster than you trying to get a job outside the tech ecosystem. So more jobs were created in 2025 than in 2024. And the tech ecosystem, the jobs grew double the number of jobs created outside the tech ecosystem. So that's one lie. The second lie is if I apply more, I'll eventually get interviews. And I've seen so many people, two categories of people. There are people who applies to just about 2 jobs per week. So 2 jobs per week or 3 jobs per week. And another category of people that apply to 100 jobs per week. Now, the similarities between these two people is simply the fact that they are just applying. They're churning out applications out there, as many as possible for this guy doing 100 per week. And for this person doing 2 per week, still is not doing the right thing. All they are doing is churning out applications left and right, thinking that the more applications I put out there, the more interviews I would get. But volume, applying with just volume and excluding quality, we call it quality volume. Quality volume, that's targeting the organizations and also tailoring your applications to the job. You look at the job requirements and you look at your CV. How well do you match that job? And until you match that job, this is you right here, and this is the job. Until you match this job by at least 90%, you should not apply to that job because you would not get interviews. So how do you tailor and how do you target those organizations to ensure that by the time you put in your application, you match the job by at least 90%? And that gets you an interview, a leg into the room. And once you have a leg into the room, the way you prepare for that interview now makes the difference for you. Okay. Sponsorship requires precision, not just volume of applications that you put out there. The third one, which is one of my favorites, the favorite lie I hear all the time, too many times over the last 12 years, 12 to 13 years as a professional, one of the things I've heard people say a lot, which is the biggest mistake holding a lot of people down, is that a degree, a master's, a bachelor's, a certificate, multiple certificates are enough. It is never enough. It is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. And I want you to remember something today. Okay? Remember this phrase: competence over credentials. Okay? Competence over credentials. Forget about the certificates you have. Forget about the masters you think you've gone to the UK to do. So many people did data analytics, AI, data science masters, cybersecurity, project management. But you're starting to realize very quickly that you've not learned the skills and the tools and the technology that would enable you compete for the best jobs within the job market. So forget about your credentials and focus on your competence. I'm going to double down on this as we move on. Okay. But if you think your degree, your master's, the certifications you've written and you have would help you, then that might just be the reason why you are currently stuck where you are. Okay. So the truth is simple. Employers across the globe in the UK would never sponsor you because of your master's, because of your certification, and the appearance that you look like somebody that can do the job. Employers want a risk-free candidate. And what does that mean? They want to be sure and absolutely sure that you can do the job. And the only way they can be absolutely sure that you can do the job is your competence, because your competence comprises of your skills and your experience, which is even more important. So you must have proof of what you can do, evidence of what you can do, not potential, not telling people what you can do, but showing them what you've done. That's what the employers want to see. That's what any employer across the globe would like to see before they get to hire you. All right. So it's time to start putting your certificates, putting your degrees at the back burner and focusing on your competence, your skills, and your experience. And I'll tell you this, I can tell you this because I've also done it. I did a master's as well in the UK, but it was a waste of £18,000 of my money, and it was a waste of time because I was learning tools. I learned a particular tool. I always like to list it, called Weka. Weka is a data science tool, okay? But I can bet you, and we can wager on this, search for 100 data science roles. You would not find one of those requirements, the job requirements that would expect you to have the knowledge of Weka or to use Weka for any of the things you would need to do. So the educational system still teaches you irrelevant tools, irrelevant technologies. And this is just one out of so many. You work on theses, you work on group work, but you don't do the job. You don't learn the skills that enable you to do the job when you get that job. And that's why your education usually is a waste of time when it comes to landing that job. Okay. Now let's move on. In 2025, looking at the job market, I mentioned earlier that the tech ecosystem, the jobs within the tech ecosystem grew far more than jobs outside the tech ecosystem. And the jobs responsible for this growth are the IT director roles, the programmers, software developers, the data analysts, the web professionals, website professionals, web developers, the business analysts, and the business architects. And of course, London represented the highest number of these roles, looking at the different cities where you could easily land these type of jobs, from London to Edinburgh to Leeds, Bristol, Manchester, Birmingham, Belfast, and so on and so forth. Now, in 2026, where will the opportunities be? The opportunities would be in AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, data analytics, business intelligence, cloud, which is cloud engineering, cloud development, data engineering, essentially. If you're in data engineering, you would learn cloud technologies. Okay. And of course, software applications and development. This is from Robert Half, and this is the link to these reports. I have them right here. So everything I'll share with you today, you'd have the link and access to these different articles so you can easily access them and get to read them. Quite interesting for you to read because it gives you a sense of where the job market would be in 2026, what happened in 2025, where were the opportunities, and how can I latch onto those opportunities. We'll have the opportunity for questions and answers. All right. So make sure you write your questions down. Don't miss it. So when we get to Q&A, you'd have the opportunity to ask those questions. For you to get access to my material, my slide, all the links, I'll share amazing stuff with you today. Make sure you fill the attendance form. Okay, very important. My colleague would share the attendance in the chat. Fill the attendance so that you get a recording, you get all the materials that we would share today. Now, narrowing down to the career path that are in high demand, the career path that would land you a job the fastest, the career path that would land you sponsorship, makes your work 10 times easier. Okay, so you're making your job 10 times faster, 10 times easier when you are in a career path that is in high demand, a career path employers are actively searching for. So, number one thing you must do today in coming up with your strategy to land a visa sponsored job, to land a job within the tech ecosystem in the US, in the UK, across Canada, wherever you are, get into a career path that employers are actively searching for. And we've done the analysis for you, and I'll walk you through the career path you should focus on. Okay. So what we do every year is we do a job board analysis. Every quarter, every month, we do a job board analysis across different job boards from Glassdoor to Indeed, CV Library, read.co.uk, Monster, Workopolis, UK Visa Jobs. We identify the career path that are high in demand, the highest frequency of demand. What roles are employers hiring for today? We look for that. Secondly, we look at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. And this is a report that comes out every 2 years, and it shows you the career path that would grow in demand and the career path that would decline in demand. And easily you can tell where the world is today, the career paths that are high in demand, those that will keep on growing in demand, and those that will decline in the next 5 to 10 years. The most recent Future of Jobs report came out in January 2025, last year. So the next one would come out next year, 2027, every 2 years. So we looked at this report to identify the analysis from here. Does it align with what a reputable organization like the World Economic Forum is showing? And I'll show you what this report looks like very quickly. Maybe we touch on this as we move on, but I would also try to move very fast because of time. So we have the opportunity to ask questions. Okay. So if you click on this link, and like I said, all the links, the slides will be shared with you, but make sure you fill the attendance so you don't miss it. If you click on this link, it takes you to the Future of Jobs report, and I think it's on page 21. Yes. So if you come to page 21, you'd see the job growth and the job decline 2025 to 2030. I'm just going to highlight a few roles for you just to give you a sense of the type of analysis we've carried out and research. Looking at the career path that would grow at the left-hand side, predominantly at the left-hand side, the career path that will decline are on the right-hand side. Okay. Number one is the big data specialist. You have the AI machine learning specialist. You have the data warehousing specialist. These are the data engineers. UI UX designers. These are the product designers. Data analysts, data scientists, DevOps engineer, information security analysts. These are your cybersecurity analysts, data engineers, and there's so many other roles. We can keep going on and on and on, and you'd see the different roles that would keep on growing in demand and those that would decline in demand. You don't want to be in a career path that is on the decline because you just find yourself in the next 2 years, the next 1 year, trying to move or trying to transition into a new role. The final part for us is we do a regional analysis looking at the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa in the UK. In the US, we look at the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. And in Canada, we look across different provinces from the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, the provincial nominee programs across multiple provinces, the Saskatchewan Tech Pathway, the BC Tech Pilots, and so many other pathways. And if you look at these different analyses, one thing is true. There are specific career paths that if you find yourself in any of those areas, you would land a job the fastest. One of the things I've seen happen, recent trend is a lot of people from the UK moving to the US, moving to Canada, and they get into Canada and realize that, oh, the job market is even more robust in the UK than in Canada. I've lived in Canada. I live in Canada. I've lived in the UK. So I can tell you this categorically. There are more opportunities for jobs in the UK than in Canada. So if you think the UK is difficult to land a job, it's even more difficult in Canada. And they realized this after moving to Canada to realize that the jobs that are high in demand, where I can land a job the fastest, I don't have the skills. And that's why these type of analyses are very important. So if you ever think of leaving the UK, for example, moving to the US, moving to Canada, you want to know the career path in those areas, in those regions that are high in demand. And if you look at the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, if I click on the link, it takes you to the gov.uk website and you can see clearly. I'm going to highlight a few again for you. I'll scroll all the way to 2131. Okay, 2131, the IT project managers. Let me maximize this so you can see it a bit better. So the IT project managers, these are the agile project managers, not your conventional project managers, but the agile project managers that manage projects across the IT space, the technology ecosystem. So the apps you have on your phone, your Revolut, your NatWest, your Lloyd's banking app, those apps were built, managed by an agile project manager to ensure that it's met all the requirements of the business and also the users. That's the role of the agile project manager. You have the IT business analyst and related roles to the business analyst role. You'd see the data architects, the data engineers, the IT business analysts, and so on and so forth. You'd see the cybersecurity professionals. These are the eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. These are the occupations that are high in demand. All right. You'd see the DevOps engineers, the UI UX designers. These are the product designers, and so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. Now, looking at all these different areas, we came up with 10 career paths that if you find yourself in any of these 10 career paths, you would not struggle to land a job. The job would be a lot faster and a lot closer to you than other jobs outside these areas. And number one on the list is the business analyst in no order of preference. Okay. So no specific order, the business analyst, the data analyst, the data scientist, the agile project manager, the data engineer, the cybersecurity analyst, the HR analyst, the financial analyst, the DevOps engineer, and the product designer. So I go back to how we started. There are job opportunities. The job opportunities are not just available across the entire economy. The job opportunities are within a specific set of career path. You need specific set of skills to get these type of jobs. These are the 10 areas you want to find yourself in. If you are looking for sponsorship, you are looking for a high paying job, you are looking to transition. And because these areas are skill based, it means that a nurse can become a business analyst. A care worker, a support worker can become a data analyst. And I'm going to share some success stories, some testimonials of people that have done exactly these, use these strategies and done exactly what I've been saying and speaking about for the last 30 minutes. Okay. And let's talk about Sharon. All right. I want you to take a mental picture of this page. You want to maybe take your mobile phone, take a screenshot highlighting the career path you think you are interested in. I'm going to ask that question in a few minutes. Okay. Identify one of these areas that you believe you want to get into. My friends have been getting jobs as business analysts, data analysts, agile project managers, data engineers. It's time for me to land a job as well. Okay, so identify one of the areas you think you're interested in, and then I'll come back to ask you that question. But let's talk about Sharon. Sharon moved from a healthcare assistant with the NHS. She moved to the UK, worked with the NHS for over 3 to 4 years, thereabout. But she wanted to move. She worked as a healthcare assistant, but she wanted more. She wanted a career path that would not require more hours, more physical strain on her body in order to make more money. So she joined our business analysis program. She joined our business analysis program in March last year, 2025. She did all the things I'm going to share with you today, from tailoring her CV to a business analyst CV, to joining all the mentorship sessions, strategies on how to apply to job, building a portfolio, applied to numerous jobs. And in May last year, 2025, just about 3 months after joining, Sharon moved from a healthcare assistant to a business data analyst. And the job came with sponsorship. There was a full interview with Sharon right here. It would be nice for you to listen to Sharon and how she was able to do it. I'll play a couple of videos for you just to ensure that we manage our time effectively. But this is Sharon, who had zero experience, healthcare assistant with the NHS. Today, she's a business data analyst. You have Gad. Gad was a student in the UK, like so many people who moved to the UK on a student visa, on a study visa. He had a background in mechanical engineering, had no idea about data engineering, had no idea about the data ecosystem. But a friend, an Indian friend, advised him, if you want to land a job fast in the UK, you want to consider data engineering, one of the career paths I highlighted as the career path you should consider if you want to land a job fast. So Gad joined our data engineering program in July 2024. He did all the amazing stuff I'm going to show you how to do, built a portfolio. He got prepped for multiple interviews. And in January last year, 2025, Gad landed a job with the NHS as a data warehouse and ETL developer. Of course, the job came with sponsorship. These are professionals who had no sponsorship, had no experience in the technology ecosystem, but today they did not just get jobs, they got jobs that came with sponsorship. You have Ikmat. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. She had stayed at home for over 2 years because she just had a baby. She had a 2 year employment gap. She moved to the UK as a dependent. I beg your pardon. She moved to the UK for her master's in public health. While she was undergoing her master's, she realized that the type of jobs that she saw whenever she checked different job boards, NHS jobs, and so on, the jobs all came with technology skills. You need to have Excel. You need to know how to use SQL. You need to know how to use Power BI. But these were not tools that were taught during her master's program. So she realized immediately that there was a gap. And if she graduated with that gap, she would struggle to land a job. I'm going to double down on this particular phrase because so many people make this mistake. You wait until You are done with your master's. You wait until you've gotten your post-study visa. You wait until you are halfway through your post-study visa before you start aggressively applying to jobs. That's a big mistake. Ikmat did not make that mistake. While she was still undergoing her master's, she joined our data analytics program because she wanted more. And in January 2024, Ikmat landed a job with the NHS. While she was still within the program, she got two offers. Her master's was still ongoing at that time, but she couldn't take up the job because as a student, of course, you know you can only work for 20 hours in the UK. In Canada, you can do 24 hours per week. So she couldn't take up those jobs as a student. So immediately before she wrapped up her program, she landed the job with the NHS. And she was able to take up that because she was wrapping up her master's and she started that role with the NHS as an information analyst with the NHS Sussex Community Foundation Trust. And of course, you have somebody like Ramat. Ramat worked with British Gas as a customer service representative, had no experience in tech. She joined our business analysis program, did all the amazing stuff from CV, tailoring her CV, joining the mentorship. She got prepped for multiple interviews. She built her portfolio, just like I would show you how to do yours as well. And Ramat was able to land a job with the NHS as a business architect in the UK. Her job also came with sponsorship. She got this job before she even completed her business analysis program with us at Analytics. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through some of the profiles of these amazing professionals. All right, very quickly. And then I would probably play one of the videos. Perhaps I'll play Ramat's video. You get to listen to Ramat and hear how she was able to transition from customer service to a business architect. So let's go on. Let's go to LinkedIn very quickly. Okay. God, for example, I always struggle to pronounce God's surname. God Olugwenyin. Okay. I don't want to murder his name, but I just call him God. God, one of the first things you'd see when you go to his profile is you both worked at Tenalytics. And this is a game changer for so many people. While I'm walking you through your strategy, you'd understand why this is a game changer and why it is extremely important. All right. So you'd see God currently works as a data warehouse and ETL developer with the NHS Business Service Authority. Started the job in January 2025. Prior to that, he had joined our data engineering program and he has it listed on his LinkedIn profile as his work experience. So when you join us, you don't join us as a student, you join us as a contractor, you join us as a consultant. And that forms part of your work experience because the NHS would reach out they do their background check, number one, and they would reach out for reference. You need a reputable organization that can reference you, that can write a reference for you, that the skills you say you have, the tools you say you know how to use, you actually know how to use those tools. And that was how God was able to land this job with the NHS. Very important. I'm going to walk through Ramat's profile very quickly, and then I'll probably play Ramat's video. We get to listen to Ramat. So this is Ramat, phenomenal professional. Again, you both worked at Tenalytics. You'd see that right there. And if you go to Ramat's profile, she worked as a customer service representative with British Gas. She joined our business analysis program and she was able to land this job as a business architect with the Midlands Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust on full visa sponsorship. Now, all these professionals, one thing you'd see that they've done is what? Positioning. They position themselves for those jobs. Any recruiter that goes to God's LinkedIn profile, they would see that he had worked as an Azure data engineer with Tenalytics. So it means that he can do the job. So from the application process to writing his personal statement and so on, he had all the tools required to put in the application. When the interview came, we prepped him for his interviews because we have over 100+ alumni working with the NHS alone in the UK, all on visa sponsorship across different areas from business architect, data warehouse, ETL developer, data analyst, information analyst, and so on and so forth. So he had the luxury of being prepared by people and professionals who could tell him what to expect during his interview. Okay, so let's listen to Ramat very quickly. Again, the links to everything I'll be showing you today, you have them on my slide. To get access to this, make sure you fill the attendance form. All right, don't forget, fill the attendance form so you get access to all the materials. But let's listen to Ramat very quickly. Ramat. Okay, so let's listen to Ramat. That's Ramat. It's a long interview, about 1 hour, because she broke everything down, step by step, what she did, and so on, how she moved to the UK. But I'm just going to play about 4 minutes of Ramat speaking about what she's done. Just 4 minutes. But with the 4 minutes, you would have a good knowledge on what she did, how she was able to get this done, what helped her during her journey. And I'm sure you'd pick and learn one or two things from Ramat's journey. Okay, so sit back, relax, and listen to Ramat.
Yes, now.
Oh,
Yes, we're
really?
all good, all fine.
How time flies. Did you come as a student?
No, I came in as a dependent to my husband. He was a student, so I was
Okay.
dependent at the time.
How was your journey? How did it start? I hear that coming in as a dependent is not that easy. Having to find
Yeah.
a job. What kind of jobs did you even start with?
Well, to be fair, it was quite good for me because I didn't have to do care, but I know so many people that had to do care, warehouse, and all of that. But I started as a customer service rep for British Gas. So British Gas is like an energy providing company that's based in the UK. So suppliers of energies and gas. So I was working with them as their customer service rep, answering calls, queries, about the product and services they offer. So that was what I did for about a year when I got here until my breakthrough with analytics.
I'm very interested in that breakthrough. Tell me about that breakthrough. How did it start? How did you hear of them? And
Oh yeah.
what gave you the conviction to try them out? What is your experience like?
Okay, let me start from how I heard about them. So I was talking to my cousin. My cousin is in the UK as well. She did data analytics with analytics. So I was telling her because I was on mat leave at the time and I didn't just want my mat leave to just go like that, being that I wasn't even really interested in the customer service role. I wanted to be more. So I talked to her and said I was looking at doing something like into around business analytics. That does she know anybody any edu company just like analytics that I can
Go through.
enroll with and all of that. And she said, "Oh, that's really good because she just finished a data analytics course with analytics and all of that. That I would really enjoy them." She mentioned Adiza. She mentioned a few people from analytics that really helped her during her own time. I was like, "Is it really good?" She was like, "It's really, really good." And then she said there used to be a master class that I can attend that and just hear from them first before I fully enroll with them and all of
Go
that. I'm
in.
like, okay, yeah, that's fine. She sent me the link to the master class, and then that was it for me. Like, I didn't even have to think twice. Immediately I did the master class, I enrolled immediately because I knew this was what I wanted. They were just spilling Adiza was the one. I remember it was the one that held the master class with one other person, and it was telling us all the benefits, all the things that we will learn in the space of about 3 months, how it will be practical enough to carry that knowledge into our job. Like when we eventually land the job, that's enough experience. And to be honest, it was practical enough because that was all that helped me. So that was how I began my journey with analytics. I enrolled with them and started around it was around April, if I can remember
Yeah.
correctly, April 2023.
Okay,
Yeah.
Madrid, pin the link.
That was when I started with analytics. And it was supposed to be 3 months, 1 month for the theoretical aspect, and then I think 2 months for the practical, you have like a group where you practicalize all the things that you've been taught. They give you a project, they assign a project to your group, and then you partake, you do all the things that you would actually do on the job, you do it with them. So that took about 2 months or so. But I tell you for a fact, I started immediately after my first month with them. I already knew what I wanted. So I started enrolling for jobs and all of that. I'd not even finished my practicals before I got a job as a business analyst in one of the trusts in NHS. And that's where I still work currently. So it was that good. It was that good. All the things they taught us, all the practicals that I started to learn like bits by bits, because I already mentioned that I haven't even finished. So that was what I
Yeah.
put into the CV, into my supporting statements. And the good thing, what even crowned it up for me was when I got the interview, I told Adeza about it, and then there was a proper prep, like interview prep that I did that just prepped me comprehensively for the job. He was one of the facilitators in charge then that just prepped me, and then that was it. I got in there and smashed it, and I got the job.
Okay, so I'm going to pause right there. But that's Ramat. We've seen Ramat's LinkedIn. We've seen Ramat moving from a customer service rep with British Gas to a business architect with the NHS on sponsorship. One of the major things Ramat had to do, if you listen to her carefully, was deciding that she didn't want customer service anymore. She wanted to move into a business analysis career path. And she asked a cousin who had enrolled with us in our data analytics program and got a job, and told her that, look, go to 10 Analytics, you'd have a great time. She came to us. We prepped her for our interviews. She worked on projects. She built a portfolio. Today, Ramat comes back to help other people looking to land jobs in the UK, also with the NHS, and preps them for interviews. She serves as a mentor on our program today. Okay, so that's Ramat, absolutely phenomenal professional, doing very well for herself. And there's so many other professionals. I'll share their journey with you. Okay, so we've seen Gad, we've seen Sharon, healthcare assistant, business data analyst. Gad had a background in mechanical engineering. Today, he's a data engineer with the NHS on sponsorship. We've seen Ramat, customer service professional. Today, she's a business architect with one of the NHS trusts. I want to ask you this question. We've listed about 10 career paths, 10 areas that would get you opportunities, just like Ramat, just like Gad, just like Sharon. If you know the career path you are interested in, type it into the chat. If it's data analytics, project management, data science, business analysis, type into the chat. I'd love to know your thoughts. And for those of you that are not sure, I'll show you how to get, some recommendation on what you should consider, the career path to consider. iPhone, cybersecurity, a lot of iPhones, business analysis, iPhone. Chineye says data engineering, fantastic. Folashade, data analytics. Zackstorm, project management. Somebody's saying they can't see my screen. I'm not sure that's from my end. Dr. Bassi, I'm not sure the issue is from my end. If you can hear me, Dr. Bassi, what you want to do is maybe you want to drop off, come back again or something. Okay. I'm not sure the problem is from my end. DevOps engineering, Dr. Bassi wants to do DevOps. Fantastic, Dr. Bassi. Joseph, product design. Sorry, Jeremiah, I beg your pardon. Product design, data science from junior. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, like I mentioned, the most important thing you want to do is what? Identify the career path you want to move into. Okay, that's the most important. There are 10 of them. Focus on one out of the 10. You can have two, it's also fine. Okay. But by the end of the session today, you want to have one career path you are interested in. And I'll show you how to do that as well to narrow it down to one. But once you are done with step one, we're going to move on to what? Step two. Step two is where you learn the skills required. So many of you, you've listed the career path you're interested in, from data engineering to cybersecurity. I'm not sure, or Louis saying, I'm not sure, maybe data or business analysis. That's totally fine. One of the advantages you have is all those areas are all high in demand. These are high demand career path, the career path that are eligible for the skilled worker visa, career path that gives you accelerated pathway to permanent residency in Canada, the career path with the highest H-1B acceptance rate. So you're in a good place if you choose either business analysis or data analytics. It's fine to be confused. And that's why we're here to help you narrow it down to one. Okay. Now, some of the things that bother people today, some fears that people have, looking at all these career paths. Oh, Adeza, you said Ramat was in customer service. How exactly was she able to get this job? If she had, how did she open the computer? How did she start learning business analysis? How did she learn Excel? I don't have any experience. Can I get sponsorship? Can I get a job? One of the major fears for people is I am switching careers. I've always done accounting. I've always done customer service. I've always done care. I've always done support work. Will I get sponsorship? All right. What I want you to know is your previous background, while it might be important, employers don't sponsor your background. They sponsor your competence. I mentioned that earlier, your skills and your experience. That's the most important thing, your skills and your experience. And all these career paths, the reason why Ramat was able to transition, if you listen to her carefully, she was categorical. The program was practical. She did the work while learning, and it gave her the skills and the understanding to know how to do the job on day one when she landed that job. So she had all the confidence during her interview. She had fantastic interview prep. And for people who think I might get the job, I might not be able to keep the job, Ramat has been on that role for about 2 years, doing amazingly well for herself. Okay, so employers would sponsor skills and experience, your competence. They don't sponsor your background. Number two is I don't have UK experience. UK experience is very important when you want to land a job, extremely important if you want to be considered as one of the top candidates for that job. And that's why if you go back to Ramat's profile, you'd see what? Business analyst consultant with Tenalytics. If we go to Guard's profile, we go back to Guard's profile, you'd see what? One of the things you'd see is Azure Data Engineer with Tenalytics. So UK experience is extremely important. But how do you get UK experience? You can get experience through projects, learning in a project-based environment. And I'll show you how to do that step by step practically. And the same way Ramat listed Tenalytics, the same way Guard listed Tenalytics as work experience, you would also gain UK work experience by listing Tenalytics and listing Amdari. Amdari is the sister company to Tenalytics where you get to do your internship. So you learn with Tenalytics, you intern with Amdari. Amdari operates out of London in the UK. So you list Amdari as part of your work experience, just like Ramat did, like God did, and that gave them the positioning of the experience that they needed to show employers, potential employers, that they were the right candidates for the job. Your visa is expiring soon is also a major concern, something that bothers a lot of people. But I want you to know that the closer you are to your visa expiry, the more focused your strategy should be. Okay? And you have to start now. The earlier you start, the better for you, because employers can feel that pressure. They can feel that, they can feel the pressure from you that you are desperate to get this job. You don't want that level of desperation. And that's why it's important to always start early. Okay. So how do you learn the skills? The way Ramat did. Because remember, we are talking about what? How to learn the skills. A lot of people learn the wrong way. They learn on YouTube. I've made this mistake myself. Learn on Udemy. I've made this mistake myself. But guess what? Udemy will not be in your interview. When you have an interview, Udemy is not going to prep you for that interview. When you have to provide a reference, Udemy is not going to write a reference for you. So I've made the mistake myself where I try to learn on my own, but there is no structure to my learning. All right. The best thing you want to do when you want to learn, the same way God learned, the same way Ramat learned, is to what? Learn in a project-based environment. And this means learning by doing the work. Learning by doing the work. So you heard Ramat, it was practical to the extent that they did the job they would do when they land that job. That's how you must learn. Okay. And when you learn by doing the real work, you work on real projects, you must showcase your work because nobody knows you. Nobody can find you. Nobody knows how good you are. You must show the world how good you are by doing what? Building a portfolio. This is how you must learn. So if somebody like Victoria wants to get sponsorship with the NHS, just like God, just like Ramat, as a data analyst, Victoria must do what? She must work as a data analyst with healthcare data. She must work as a data analyst in the healthcare space, and she must have evidence for that work. Because when you get into the room, you want to speak the language of your employer. You want to show them that you've done this before. You are not telling them what you can do, but you are showing them what you've done. And practically, how does this happen? I will walk you through that in the classroom, how you learn in a project-based environment. Okay. Now, same thing with Victor. Victor wants to get sponsorship with NatWest as a machine learning engineer. Victor must do what? He must learn machine learning while undergoing data science. He must learn machine learning by working on financial data if he wants to get a job with NatWest in the financial services sector. And again, just like Victoria, he must have what? Evidence in the form of a portfolio. So let's take Victoria as an example. All right. I'm going to take you to Victoria's classroom, her live classroom. So for somebody like Victoria, who did data analytics, when learning Excel in data analytics, because Victoria knows I want to get a job in this particular area. I want to get a job with the NHS. The NHS is in the healthcare space. I must work on healthcare data as a data analyst. So while learning Excel, I would learn Excel to solve problems within healthcare. I would learn Excel by working on data with Excel that are healthcare related data. So if you go to the live class, for example, you'd see the class material, you click on that, you have a project in healthcare, a case study for St. Luke's Hospital. And this is a case study where this hospital currently has a problem. So you would learn about data privacy, the GDPR, data management, because these are key concerns when working with healthcare data. And one of the problems that this hospital has is what? Operational inefficiencies. Because data is unstructured and the data is in different silos. You have data in silos. You as the data analyst would need to bring the data into a central location and start to analyze the data to help them identify patient trends, emergency room efficiency, and so on. This is what your live class looks like. You work on these kind of case studies. And if you look at the recording, because every class is recorded on a Saturday when you have a class, just in case you miss that class, the live class, you can always come back and watch the recording. So you see everything that happened in class on that day. So this is the same case study I just showed you, and you are solving it together with a facilitator, with a trainer that has experience in the space, walking you through how to solve these problems step by step. And you have the opportunity to ask questions. You have the opportunity to say, hey, I have this question. This is somebody asking a question, for example. Abisola is asking a question. Oh, I have a question. Can I share my screen? I've just done what you said I should do. I got a different result. You get real-time feedback. Now, when you complete this project, when Victoria completes this project, what does Victoria do? Victoria builds a portfolio, creates evidence that she has done this job before. All right. And let's see what the evidence looks like. So if I click on this, okay, if I click on this, it takes me to Victoria's portfolio, Victoria, and I would see that particular project in the healthcare space, deep care hospital analysis. This is Victoria's portfolio. Now, anybody can come here and see what Victoria has done. Anybody can click on this link. If I click on this link, open it up to see what this project is all about, I can see the analysis Victoria carried out for the emergency room, creating a dashboard using Tableau. So if the NHS is recruiting for somebody that knows how to use Excel, Tableau, Power BI, SQL, and so on, and they come across Victoria's portfolio, she's going to be invited for an interview. That's the difference for people who say they have the skills, they can do something, and for people who can show what they've done. The link to your portfolio would always be on your LinkedIn, it would always be on your CV, so that any recruiter, once your CV goes past the ATS and a recruiter wants to review that to invite you for interview, they can see the project. The hiring manager can see the project you've completed, and it is also dynamic. I can deselect, everything disappears. I want to see data for only Q2. I click on Q2 and I see data for only Q2. The same way I'm interacting with this, the same way the recruiters, the hiring managers would interact with it. And there are so many other projects in the aviation sector, the logistics industry, the FMCG, Nestle Product Analytics, using Power BI, and so on and so forth. This is your evidence that you can do the job. You must have evidence. The same thing with Victor. Victor wants to get sponsorship with the NHS. Victor must show that he can do the job, or get it, sorry, with NatWest, not the NHS this time around. As a machine learning engineer, he must do what? He must learn by working as a machine learning engineer, solving the type of problems he would solve in the real world. Okay. And the link would always be, if let's go to Victor's profile very quickly. Okay. We're not going to take time on this, but it's important you start to structure, and I would summarize so that you don't miss out on anything. Okay. You both worked at Tenalytics. That's something very key. I mentioned that. If you scroll down to Victor's profile, you'd see he joined our data science program. He got a job as a data AI automation strategist. He's also a delegate for global AI in the UK as well. Now, if you go to Victor's the link on his LinkedIn profile, you'd see his portfolio, the link to his portfolio. Okay. If I click on this, it's going to take me to Victor's portfolio, the same way I opened up Victoria's portfolio. And I'll see all the different projects he's completed. AI-powered customer care chatbots, loan default prediction. All right. So I want to get a job with NatWest. I want to show that I have analyzed financial data and I created a prediction model, a machine learning model that can predict customers that will default on their loan. So anybody can come here, click on this link, and it takes them to the project. So they can read about the project, see what Victor has done. Better still, they can click on this to see the notebook, the Python notebook on how he completed that particular project. Now, how did Victor do this? He did this in class. This project was done in class. The loan default prediction was done in class. And this is how you learn, by doing the job, learning in a project-based environment. So if I take you to Victor's classroom, for example, when he was doing his machine learning live class, You go to the class material. The case study is what? Loanalytics Incorporated, loan default prediction. Okay. Now, this was not done. Victor didn't just solve this problem on his own. You have the guidance of a professional. So I can go to the class recording. You'd see how the class went on that day. You click on that.
Yes, yes, yes.
You'd see a facilitator walking you through the project step by step. You're solving it together. And at the end of the day, you add this project to your what? Portfolio, just like Victor has done. This is what I call learning in what? A project-based environment. It is the best way to learn. It is the only way you would know how to do the job when you get that job. You must also show your work as evidence. Recruiters would not hire you. You would not get sponsorship if they feel that there's any doubts that you can do the job. So you must have evidence of what you can do. Don't talk about what you can do. Show what you have done in the form of a portfolio. Very important. All right. So everybody that I've shown you today that landed jobs one way or the other, sponsorship in the US, in the UK, in Canada, in Egypt, wherever, they followed this same process. So number one, get into a career path that is high in demand. Number two, learn in a project-based environment and build a portfolio. And this takes us to number three, gaining work experience to show employers you are the best candidates for the job. Right? When you learn in a project-based environment, like I showed you, you'd work on multiple projects in multiple industries and sectors. It forms part of your work experience. Okay? But there's another way. So the first one is if you want to gain work experience, is to learn in a project-based environment. You work on projects within the sector, in the industry you want to land a job. These are the things you do in class with us. And then you have your internship for 2 months with Amdari. Amdari operates out of Alberta in Canada and also operates out of London in the UK. So you have the unique opportunity of listing experience and getting references from the organizations where you have worked. So you position yourself as somebody that is already on that job. So employers would see you as somebody who knows how to do the job because you're already on the job. And that's how you start to get opportunities. So you build experience by working in a project-based, learning in a project-based environment, and also through your internship. All the programs we offer all come with internships. The internship is where you collaborate. So the data analyst and the data engineer and the data scientist would collaborate on projects together. Because in the real world of work, you don't work alone. You work together with other professionals to solve a common problem. So you're going to learn skills around communication. You'd learn skills around managing your deliverables. You'd learn skills around interpersonal skills, teamwork. And these are the key skills, the soft skills you need when you want to land a job anywhere across the globe. And of course, you must have evidence that you can do the job. You must have evidence that you've done the work in the form of a portfolio. And I've shown you that how to get that done. Every program comes with you building a portfolio. Okay. So you've seen how you learn. Apart from you learning in class, so every Saturday, just like today, for example, for those in the UK, your class runs from 11 a.m. Okay, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I don't know why this keeps, let me write it here. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. 3 hours every Saturday. I'm going to double down on the timing. I just want to, create some context to how you learn. 3 hours on Saturdays, you have your live class. Just like I showed you, you have a professional, you work on case studies together, you work on problems, you work on those projects that forms part of your portfolio. Then you also have the self-paced. The self-paced classes, this is where you get into the LMS, the learning management system. Okay, so for those that have registered, you have access to a dashboard. Okay, I'm going to log into the dashboard and show you what it looks like. So you have access to a dashboard, and this is where you learn at your convenience. So on a Monday, on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday, any day of the week, anytime, anywhere, at your convenience, you can come into your dashboard, come into the LMS, select the program you've joined. Let's say you've joined business analysis, cybersecurity. You come here and click on continue learning, and you start to watch your videos at your convenience. If, for example, I want to learn introduction to networking, okay? Basics of incident detection and response. I come here, I click on this, it takes me to the video, and I start to watch my video one after the other, and I start to implement the skills, the tools I'm learning by completing my case study and practical session. So this is the LMS where you learn at your convenience, anywhere, any day, anytime. And on Saturdays is when you have your live class. Okay. I just wanted to mention that before we leave this particular part of our presentation today. So now you know, getting into a high demand career path, how to learn in a project based environment and building a portfolio to showcase your work, how to gain work experience through the projects you've completed in class and through your internship. And finally, a job reference. Extremely important. A lot of people ignore this. I was speaking to a lady last week. She got a job, and this is the unfortunate part for the lady. She was asking for my advice on what I think she can do. She got a job. On her CV, she has one company in Nigeria. The CV she used to get this job, she had a company in Nigeria, and she listed two companies in Canada. She listed two companies in Canada. Unfortunately for her, the job she got was she got a job as a BA, as a business analyst. Okay, she got a job as a business analyst, and she had done some work in Nigeria as a BA. So when she got the job, they required to get references from the two companies in Canada to make it three references. So she had one in Nigeria and she listed two in Canada, but she couldn't get references from the other two, companies, because the job she had done with those other two companies were totally off the business analysis career path that she got a job in. And she was confused. What do I do? Only the Nigeria company is willing to give me a reference. If I go to the two companies in Canada, they'll tell them that, oh, for this one, I worked as a warehouse operative. And for the other one, I'm currently working as a cashier. So these are not career paths that are favorable for me. And she was confused on what to do. Referencing is very important. Unfortunately for her, she couldn't provide the references that the organization required. And I don't think she's going to get that job. I advised her on what I think she should do. But again, I'll say she has a 40 to 30% chance of getting that offer eventually. So organizations would always ask for a reference. You must have the opportunity to provide a reference. And that's why you'd see the LinkedIn profiles I shared with you. You'd list the different areas, analytics. You don't join us as a student, you join us as a contractor, as a consultant. So that forms work experience. Amdari, the same thing. So when you submit your CV, when you get that job, just like the NHS sent this reference, the South Tees Hospital NHS Foundation Trust, Dea Deza Suleiman, this candidate who got a job as a pathology data analyst, has given us the permission to approach you for a reference. I'll be grateful if you could let me have your opinion regarding his suitability for the post. by completing the attached reference form or by filling the form online using this link. They would reach out to find out. You say you are a data analyst, you are a data engineer, you are a business analyst. Have you done this job before? Can you prove that you can do the job by providing a reference? So organizations would reach out. Some of them would send a reference like this. Some would request for a phone call. Some would request for a video call where they have a conversation with us to ask questions about the work that you have done, the tools you can use, and the skills that you have. What's the best way to manage you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? A lot of people ignore the referencing aspect. If you do that and it comes to the point where this is you and this is your sponsorship, you don't want something like a reference to come in between. And unfortunately, if you have not listed a company in your CV that you used to get that job, you can't list it afterwards. Okay, so what they've used to hire you, that CV they've used is the same CV they'll check. Okay, your current role, the next role, the next role. Provide a reference from there. So we provide a reference for you. We always got your back when it comes to referencing. So don't forget, you need a reference to keep the job. All right. So your sponsorship roadmap would always look like this. You must get into the right roles. I've said that so many times. Not every job qualifies for sponsorship. So you must get into the career path that qualifies for sponsorship. You must learn the right way. You must have evidence. You must choose the right employers. Not all employers can give you sponsorship. A lot of people don't know this and they just apply and apply and apply to jobs. All right. You must have access to the licensed sponsors. And this data is available, all right, on gov.uk. But what I've done is I've also listed it here for you. So if you get my slide at the end of the session today, make sure you fill the attendance, all right? So you have access to all of these. If I click on this, it takes me to the gov.uk website and I can see the register of licensed sponsors. Okay, it was last updated this year, a few days ago, actually, 29th of January, 2026. All you need to do is download the register of worker and temporary, license organizations that can sponsor you. You download this data. It's a large CSV data, and you filter by your city, filter by your town, filter by your region, and you start to see the companies that have the license to sponsor. Not all companies can sponsor you. You must also make sure that they have sponsored before. Don't make this mistake. Make sure you know that they have sponsored before. And how do you know they've sponsored before? If I have two companies, company A and company B has only given two COSs, certificates of sponsorship. Company A has given 503 certificates of sponsorship. Between company A and company B, which one do I think would give me the next COS? Which company would find it easy to give me a COS, A or B? Nancy says A. Jeremiah says A. Polashade says B. Okay. Let's get more feedback very quickly. And I'll tell you what you need to do. Desmond says A. Benga says A. Okay. So we have more A's than B's. Never think that a company that has given just two COS would give you a COS. Okay, you might get it, but there's a low chance that you will. A company that has given 503 shows that they easily give. They're familiar with the process. You don't have to convince them too much. They know what the process looks like. They offer roles that comes with sponsorship, and you want to go for those type of companies. All right. Now, what I've also done is I've kept a link right here to show you and give you access to where you can check for these companies. Okay, so if you click on this, for example, it takes you to this website and you can see the COS database, companies that have offered COSs and the number of COSs they've offered, the month where they have their highest COS. Proforce 8,512, Tata Consulting Services 6,900 plus, Concordia, Cognizant. We have a lot of our alumni working in Cognizant, 1,948, and so on. And you can check the list on and on and on. Okay. So what you want to do when you know the companies and the number of COSs that they offer or they've issued, you want to target those companies. Okay. So let's say Tata Consulting Services, for example, and I'll show you this very quickly. These are some of the things we show you, we teach you how to do when building your strategy. I'm going to go on LinkedIn very quickly and I'm going to type in Tata Consultancy Services. Okay. So you target those companies that have issued high number of COSs. I'm going to click on the page. I want to see the jobs that they have. So I click on jobs. Okay. So I can see this job that was posted 2 days ago, business analyst. One of the first roles is in Manchester. I'm going to click on that. Show me more jobs from Tata. Okay, so I can see business analyst from Tata Consultancy Services. It comes with visa sponsorship. So there's an extension installed on my Chrome, my Google Chrome, that shows companies that have given or issued sponsorship over the last couple of years. So you can start to see business analysts. I'm going to target for this role. If I want to get a job as a business analyst, I'll target Tata and apply. Okay. I'll check the next role, business analyst, digital channels. Okay. The same thing, I'm going to apply. All right. I can scroll down to see more roles available. Data and AI architects. I come in here, I'm going to apply. 3 weeks ago, and you have just 79 applicants. So you applying to this job, for example, you have a chance or you stand a chance of landing the job. So this is how I start to target companies that have issued high number of COSs. And I know they can give me a COS, they can sponsor me when I get that offer. Okay. Then you must position yourself the right way. Always remember, you must look like someone that they would hire even without visa sponsorship. If you cannot get that job today, then you cannot get the sponsorship. You must position, have all the portfolio, projects in your portfolio, have UK work experience, have an optimized CV, LinkedIn, and interview readiness. I'll speak about that in a few minutes. And of course, your timeline is also key. A lot of people make this mistake. It's a big mistake that you make. The big mistake you make is waiting until you complete your master's, waiting until your post-study visa is almost expiring before you start to think about sponsorship. Okay, so start thinking about it immediately. The day you land in that country, how do I get visa sponsorship? How do I get permanent residency? And so on, no matter where you are. If you're in Canada, how do I get my PR? What jobs would give me the access and so on? Okay, so don't wait. Your post-study visa period is not a waiting period. Your postgraduate work permit is not a waiting period. It's a period for you to start acting, start putting out the application, start learning the skills, and ensure that you're able to land a job. Because you don't want to have the pressure of going into an interview, but because your visa is about to expire, you have the pressure, and it shows that you're desperate to get that job, and you're likely not going to get it if you're too desperate. These are the things you put in place to get a visa sponsored job. Okay, so I'm going to summarize by showing you the skills you need to learn in all the areas and how we categorically help you position you to get the job. I've said a lot on how we position you, but I'll break it down into 3 broad areas. And then I'll show you how to get started today if you want to start your journey to a high-paying job, to a visa-sponsored job. And then we have our Q&A. Now, what are the skills required across the different areas? If I want to become a business analyst today, what do I need to learn? I'm going to have to learn Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Data skills, first of all. Then, as a business analyst, because my role focuses on optimizing processes, improving processes. If a process from A to B takes 3 days to complete. How can I identify the gaps and the inefficiencies within the process to reduce it to take just 3 minutes? I need to know how to map out the process mapping. I need to know how to map processes using tools like, so process mapping using Lucidchart, Draw.io. You need to know project initiation planning. As a business analyst, you'd learn some project management skills. You'd learn Agile and Scrum for projects. You'd learn how to use Confluence to collaborate on projects, Jira to track project deliverables, Trello, Azure DevOps, on to implement the agile methodology, the Scrum framework while working on projects. You'd learn the software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis, AI for the business analyst using Chat GPT. And I want to show you something very quickly. Okay, I'll probably come back to explain this, but I want to show you something. Now, one of the mistakes people make is that to get this job as a business analyst, I must have a certificate. There must be some certification somehow. And one thing I always tell people is do your own research, check for these jobs, and check if the job vacancies you see out there requires certification. I beg your pardon. Okay. Now I'm going to take you to a platform, a website where you have access to visa sponsored jobs. Okay. So one of the things we do is we know how important it is to have exclusive access to visa sponsored jobs. So as Tenalytics, we pay to these platforms. So we get access to these platforms. We get the visa sponsored jobs and we share them with you in your classroom. Okay. I'm going to show you that as well. Okay. But I'll take you to this platform very quickly. UK visa jobs. Okay. And what I want to do is let's look at the requirements of one of the jobs, one of the roles that comes with sponsorship as a business analyst. So I'll click on jobs. To get access to these jobs and apply, you need to make payments. You need to pay to the platform. So what we do is Tenalytics pays to the platform. So you don't have to pay. We scrape the jobs, we scrape the data, and then we send them to you for you to apply. So you have access to jobs that your counterparts, your friends don't have access to. So you get that job a lot faster. You get the interviews a lot faster. So let's type the business analyst. Okay, so I forgot to show you something quickly. So this says apply for students, graduates, and experienced hire jobs with visa sponsorship in the UK. Okay, so if I go to jobs, I'm going to type business analyst. Let's see the requirements. Okay, what does it take for me to get this job as a business? I don't know why there's a lag. Okay, something is going on. I'm not sure exactly what. Okay, just give me 1 second. All right, so let's try this. Business analysts. Okay. Search. So you see different roles, okay? Business analyst intern, business analyst with fresh fields, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to click on, let's check this one, for example, fresh fields as a business analyst with fresh fields. It's a visa sponsored job. It's in Manchester and so on. Okay. But what I want us to do is to go to the requirements. What are they looking for? Strong technical analysis skills, including what? Process mapping. I want to highlight this, including what? Process mapping. Now, if you go to the requirements I showed you, the things you would learn in class, work on projects using these tools is what? Process mapping. Clearly indicated. Let's go back to the job. You'd see and requirements management, requirement fundamentals, requirement gathering, requirements engineering, and so on. Okay. So if we go back to the key learning areas, you'd see that right here, requirements, fundamentals. Okay. If you keep on checking the requirements. What do they want from people? Ability to engage stakeholders at all levels and collaborate within cross-functional teams. This is what? Stakeholder engagement and stakeholder analysis. If you check the requirements again very quickly, um, familiarity in agile waterfall methodologies such as Azure DevOps or Jira. If you go back, you'd see where you'd learn Azure DevOps, you'd learn Jira, you'd learn software development lifecycle, and so on and so forth. Very important that the skills required usually to land the job are not the skills. The companies and the organizations would not necessarily require all those skills. Okay, so it's important you look at the job requirements and you look at the skills that you have. And these are the things for somebody like Ramat, what she did as a business analyst to land the job. Then you have the agile project management. Here, you are a project manager working on technology products, managing the product, ensuring that those projects are delivered, are planned, coordinated, and delivered using the agile principles. Okay, the projects are delivered incrementally on time, within schedule, and also on budget. So you'd learn introduction to project management methodologies, project management skills and communication, foundations of Agile and Scrum, understanding the Scrum framework, the Scrum artifacts, advanced Scrum and Agile practices, end-to-end use of Jira, Confluence, Kanban boards, workflow management, Agile metrics and reporting, Nexus skilled Scrum, and preparation for the professional Scrum Master examination. We prepare you for that examination. All right. And of course, for those in the UK, your live classes happens 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you're in the US, you're in Canada, your class runs from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Okay. So for the advantage for those in the UK is if I'm not available in the morning from 11 to 2, I can join the class for those in the US or Canada, which would run from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. my time in the UK. Your program is for 8 months. Your learning journey is for 8 months. 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Okay, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. I'm going to break this down, like I've done so far. Then you have the data engineer. Fantastic salary across board. You would learn introduction to data engineering, SQL, structured query language to enable you interact with databases. A data engineer is that professional that provides data. They provide the data. They make sure the data is available. So when you use your mobile banking app, you carry out transactions. Data is generated and stored in a database for the mobile banking app. When you carry out a web transaction with the web app, data is generated, stored somewhere in the web, the database for the web app. The ATMs, the POSs, they all have their unique databases. The data engineer makes sure that they create pipelines to extract data from the different systems and provide that data in a single environment called the data warehouse. So without the data engineer, data would not be available for everyone to use. So they provide the data that organizations utilize. And that's what you do as a data engineer. So you learn introduction to data engineering, structured query language, Python for building your ETL pipelines, Linux for your bash scripting. You'd learn how to get data from different sources, databases, APIs, web. You'd learn Apache Spark and Airflow for your data pipeline automation, data orchestration. You'd learn GCP and Azure. These are your cloud engineering tools, your cloud tools, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Azure, version control with GitHub, and AI for the data engineer using ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. Then the data scientists, average salary in the UK, £55,000. In the US, 94,000. In Canada, about 94,000 Canadian dollars. And in the US, six figures, 121,000 US dollars on the average per annum. You start your journey by learning statistics, forecasting and predictive analytics using Excel, Tableau for data analytics, SQL, structured query language that enables you to interact with the database to get data, Python for your exploratory data analysis, machine learning, computer vision. You'd also learn version control with GitHub. You'd learn generative AI and GitHub Copilot for AI for the data scientist, and of course, Microsoft Fabric for analytics. Then you have the data analyst role. Average salary in the UK about £47,000 per annum. In Canada, about 83,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, about 96,000 US dollars. You start from problem solving. You go to Microsoft Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, data storytelling, AI, generative AI for the data analyst using ChatGPT and Microsoft Fabric. The timeline is also 6 months in class, 2 months internship. Similar timing, just like the business analysis and agile project management. Okay. You have the financial analysts and you have the HR analyst career path. These two areas, the financial analyst and the HR analyst, are both data analysts. The only difference is that the financial analyst focuses on what? Analyzing financial records or financial data, while the HR analyst focuses on analyzing HR data or HR records, employee data, and so on. But they are both data analysts. And that's why they learn data analytics tools, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL. Problem solving, Excel, Power BI, SQL. Then for the financial analyst, you double down on the core financial areas, accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, AI, generative AI for the financial analyst using Chat GPT. And as the HR analyst, you double down on the HR core areas using HR analytics and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and report automation, building your case and creating action, and generative AI for the HR analyst. Similar timeline, similar structure, 6 months learning, 2 months internship, and so on. Then you have the cybersecurity professional. The cybersecurity program is broken into three specializations. Number one is GRC, Governance, Risk, and Compliance Analyst. Number two is Ethical Hacker or the Ethical Hacking. Okay, ethical hacking slash penetration testing. Penetration tester. Okay, and number three is the SOC analyst, the Security Operations Center analyst. So as a cybersecurity professional with us, you'd learn all these three areas for 6 months, and then you specialize during your internship in one of these three areas during your internship for 2 months. The governance, risk, and compliance analyst is a professional that establishes cybersecurity policies and procedures and ensure that they align with the organizational goals and also regulatory requirements. They implement industry standards and frameworks. They also ensure that the organization adheres to the different and relevant laws, regulations in the industry, the GDPR, the HIPAA in the medical space, and so on and so forth. They also maintain thorough records of compliance activities and risk management efforts, and so on and so forth. That's the GRC analyst. So this is a non-technical role This is a role where you are coming up with policies, coming up with procedures, maintaining compliance records, and so on. And as an ethical hacker, what you are doing is you are trying, as a penetration tester as well, you are trying to penetrate a system within the organization, multiple systems or networks, to identify areas of vulnerability. So what particular area has some vulnerabilities, so we can identify those areas and we can close the gaps so external threats cannot penetrate those systems. And as a SOC analyst, a security operations center analyst, your role is to monitor the system, monitor the networks, monitor the data for suspicious activities. Okay, so if you see any anomaly around the network, this particular database is not meant to be accessed from outside the UK. Somebody is trying to access it from Portugal, for example. You investigate that anomaly. You stop the attack if it's a threat and block it or remove it, and then you prevent future attacks from happening. That's the role of the Security Operations Center analyst. So you learn all these three areas. And then you specialize on one during your internship. So you're going to learn the overview of cybersecurity roles and technologies, information security principles and risk management, introduction to network security threats and vulnerabilities, incident response, threat intelligence, threat detection and response, open source intelligence gathering. You'd learn how to carry out malware analysis and threat actor profiling, penetration testing, network reconnaissance and scanning, and so on and so forth. 6 months learning, 2 months internship. The cybersecurity role is high in demand and also fantastic salary. In the UK, about £57,000 per annum. In Canada, 140,000 Canadian dollars per annum on the average. And of course, in the US, about 105,000 US dollars. Then you have the DevOps engineers. The DevOps engineers, they form an intersection between the development team and the operations team. Whenever the developers build a solution, build a software, that software needs to be deployed. It needs to be tested. It needs to go through the entire cycle of development. So the DevOps engineers do what? They ensure that from when the software or the solution is developed, they set up something called CI/CD pipelines, continuous improvement, continuous development pipelines, so that whenever the codes are pushed for that particular software, they can test and run it automatically to identify if there are any issues, any errors with the server, if there's going to be any issues with the software itself, and so on. They also create containers. They create containers to run the app within those containers and see how it works to identify any issues that could come up during deployment. Okay. And of course, they also monitor the apps during deployment to ensure there are no issues and detect any issue instantly. So they ensure that from when that solution or application is built to when it is deployed, any error, any issues that can come in between, they identify those errors, identify those issues using an automated process to go through that. Okay. So it's a highly technical career path. You don't need any requirements. You don't need any prior experience to get in, but you will be ready to write codes. You will be ready to write scripts. You write codes, you write scripts as a DevOps engineer. Okay. So scripting, code writing is very important. So you'd learn DevOps fundamentals and Linux essentials. You'd learn CI/CD foundations, containerization with Docker. You'd learn cloud deployment, infrastructure as a code and monitoring, and DevSecOps, that's dev security operations, and capstone preparation. Okay. The DevOps program is also 6 months learning, 2 months internship, but the timing is a bit different. There's one time rather than timing for those in the US and those in the UK and so on. So this is for those in the UK timing, most especially 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. UK time. So if you are in the US, 2 p.m. would roughly be um, 8 a.m. your time, which is quite early. Okay, 2 p.m. would roughly be around 8 a.m. your time. It's still a time you can join a class on Saturday. Your live classes are only on Saturdays. But if you're in the UK, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays. Every other day, you're on the LMS watching, completing your assignment, completing your task, and so on and so forth. And finally, you have the product designers. The product designers are professionals that are responsible for how digital products look, how they work, and how they feel. So this particular application we are using for the meeting today, the webinar Zoom, was designed by a product designer. All the buttons, where should the buttons be? What should somebody click on and where does it take them to? So the user experience and the user interface, the product designers are responsible for building it. They ensure that every app or every application, every solution deployed are easy to use, they are visually appealing, they are useful, and they align with business goals. Okay, so you'd learn user experience foundations and research, usability testing, portfolio and AI in product design. You'd learn wireframes, visual design, and prototyping, and so on. Okay, it's not a highly technical role where you have to write code. You don't write code here. You are pretty much designing using Framer, Figma. You'd use Claude as a generative AI tool, and of course, Notion. So just like DevOps, you have classes 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. UK, and that's the single timing we have for both DevOps and product design. And these are the 10 career paths. And product design is also for 4 months, 3 months learning in class and 1 month internship, unlike the others where you have 6 months learning and 2 months internship. So generally, the programs you get to see at Analytics are 6 months learning. So this is not your become a data analyst in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. No, 6 months intensive, immersive program that ensures that by the time you are done, you have all the skills required to land that job. And then you have your 2 months internship as well. Okay. For those in the UK, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., those in the US, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. All right. Now it is time for us to summarize. How does Tenalytics bring all these things together? Everything I've said, how do we bring it together to help you land a job, to help you land visa sponsorship? Number one is learn, get into a career path and focus. Okay, so if you've chosen data science, you choose data science, you focus on that, you double down on that, eliminate the alternatives. Secondly, is what? Packaging. Packaging is presenting and positioning yourself as the best candidate for the job. So you must have experience. We help you gain experience. Your CV, your LinkedIn, we do your CV for you. All right. So if you go to your classroom, your first CV, we get to do that for you. Okay. I'm going to show you what that looks like very quickly. So if you go to your classroom, you'd see where you have upload your CV for revamp. You upload your CV, we revamp your CV, we show you how to tailor your CV to job requirements. All right. You have your LinkedIn optimization session. So you'd see people that have landed jobs. It was deliberate. And they were very deliberate about the CVs, the LinkedIn, working with all the things that we've shown them how to do. When you have an interview, we prep you for that interview. If you go to your class, your LMS, go to your dashboard, you have access to book an interview. Okay. All you have to do is come in here. You'd see interview prep. You don't need to speak to anyone. You don't need to call anybody, email anybody. Just come in here and click on what? Schedule interview. You enter all the details, first level interview, post the link to the job you've applied to, and finally upload the CV that you used to apply to that job. We review all the requirements of the job description, and then we come into a one-on-one session with you and prep you for that interview. And of course, when you have a job and they require a reference, we provide that reference for you. I talked about something the other time where we send you jobs that come with sponsorship. So if you go to your classroom under one of the important materials, you'd see where you have job offers. If you go to job offers, you'd see a list of all the jobs posted every week, every Sundays. All right. So this is on the 26th, posted 26th of January. This comes with sponsorship, 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 sponsorship. So we post jobs here. So before you go out there to start applying to other jobs, you start from here. Apply to all the jobs that come with sponsorship. So you come in here every single Sunday. We post new jobs. You come in here, apply to these jobs, and before you start applying across other platforms. So we scrape the jobs from the job boards that are paid and ensure that you have access to these jobs. Very important. And of course, you have your mentorship sessions. All right. Absolutely phenomenal sessions where we bring in industry professionals. Myself, the co-founder, for example, the last session we had, every Thursdays, you have your mentorship session. This was a session on how to turn your projects into proof that you are hire ready. You are ready for the job markets. And this was taken by the co-founder, Ifemena. Ifemena has worked in the UK, worked with the post office as a business data support, worked with TISA in the UK, Teleflex in Ireland, DPD in Ireland. So you're working with professionals that they know your pain points and they help you address those pain points. Okay. So many amazing sessions. The global talent immigration process. We had this session last December last year, where for those who are looking to navigate the global talent space, we walked them through what to do. We brought in experts to walk you through the steps one after the other and so on. These all border around what? Packaging, presenting and positioning yourself as the right candidate for the job. You must know what to do when you have an interview. We prep you for that. Okay. And finally, where to apply and how to apply. So we work on your CV. We show you how to tailor your CV. And then we give you access to the hidden and the paid job markets. And by putting all of these together, that's what helps you land the job. So all the amazing professionals, including Toyin, who was a pharmacist in Nigeria. Today, Toyin is a pharmacy data analyst with the NHS. She joined our data analytics program. She wanted more. She got her first job as a benefits analyst with the NHS, and then she moved into a new role as a pharmacy data analyst. You have Mawutin. Mawutin got a job as a pathology data analyst with the South Seas Hospital NHS Foundation Trust. He had no experience in data, had no experience in healthcare. He worked on healthcare projects, just like I showed you. He was an operations manager in Nigeria. He came to the UK for his master's. He worked as a support worker, and then he landed a job as a pathology data analyst. And this is his job description. I remember vividly. You have Judith. Judith was a care worker. Today, she's a business analyst, and so many other professionals across the globe. Okay. You have somebody like Pavel. Pavel is in the US. Pavel is currently a healthcare data analyst. He was a teacher in Cameroon before he moved to the US. He joined our program, completed his program in December 2024, tailored his CV, joined all the mentorship sessions, got prepped for interviews. And in March last year, he landed a job as a healthcare data and reporting analyst with the Arizona Community Physicians in Tucson, Arizona. You have Abigail, who was a care worker in Saskatchewan, Canada. She joined our program. Today, Abigail is a supervisor, business services, and data analytics with the government of Alberta. You have Esther, who was a care worker in the UK as well. Today, she's a contract project officer with the civil service after completing our Agile project management program. She joined us last year. She got this job. She joined us in April 2025, and by July, she had landed this job as a contract project officer with the civil service. You want to listen to Esther's story as well. Esther got the inspiration to start applying after one of my mentorship sessions where I walked people through my own journey and through my story. And she realized that I think I'm making the wrong decision by not applying. I always feel I'm not good enough. But listening to what Adeza has said, I think I'm good enough to go ahead and apply. All right. And we have people from different other regions, from Nigeria, from Poland. William, for example, William had a background in civil engineering, construction. He moved to Poland and he realized that to get a job in Poland in construction, he needed to learn Polish. So he joined our data analytics program while he was undergoing his master's. And September last year, 2025, he got a job with Mash McLennan in Poland as a junior strategy analyst. You have Chukwu Ebuka, who is in Ireland, got a job as a cybersecurity professional, joined us in September 2024. In July last year, he got a job as a security operations analyst with a company in Ireland. And of course, you have Vanessa. For those who joined early, you'd have listened to Vanessa talking about her journey and so on. There are so many professionals. I can't possibly go through every single one of them. This is Bukola. Bukola got a job as a HR business analyst in the US after completing our business analysis program. Okay. And so many other professionals. But I want you to listen to this gentleman. Okay. And I'm sure you'd learn a lot from this. Mr. Oladipo, I hope I'm getting his name right. Mr. Oladipo is over 60 years. Over 60 years old. It was shocking when he registered for one of our programs. He's in the UK. He's worked with the civil service in the UK. He's nearing his retirement. Okay, so he's worked with the border force immigration. He was a border force immigration officer with the civil service in the UK. Over 60, planning for his retirement. According to him, he wanted a career path where he could still work from home or work hybrid, even though he was retired. So he registered. He joined one of our programs. Okay, he joined us in May 2025, our business analysis program. And Mr. Oladipo was able to land a job in December last year. He landed a job as a health and safety fire data analyst with the Home Office. And he got this job just about 6 months into the program. But I want you to listen to him yourself. A 60-year-old transitioning. I wonder what your excuse is. Okay, but let's listen to Mr. Oladipo very quickly, and then I'll come show you, for those who want to start our next cohort in February 2026, on the 7th of February, next week, Saturday, how do you get started? All right, so let's listen to Mr. Oladipo very quickly, and then I'll come back to walk you through how to register. I think I have Mr. Oladipo right here, how I transitioned after the age of 60. And I'll show you where you can get more testimonials, listen to more professionals. All the links I've shared with you, you'd have the opportunity to listen to all these amazing professionals. But sit back, relax, enjoy Mr. Oladipo's story.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on whatever time you come across this video. My name is Oladipo. I am an over 60-year-old man with over 20 years UK civil service experience. I am nearing my retirement and I was looking for a way to go into tech to secure a better future for myself, and at the same time to looking for a position that will give me time to spend with my family and not to worry too much about income. So I was looking for a position where I can do some work at home or hybrid or less stress, because my work before includes working in the prison service and then into the home office. Now, going into tech, I was looking a way of going to tech, and I was doing a lot of self-study with YouTube video and other courses that I've joined in there, and I wasn't getting much anywhere until I came across Tenalytics. Tenalytics, I joined the BA program in May 2025. Now, I have to be completely honest in here. The teaching wasn't that much different from what you get from other teachings, people who are doing similar things, because to be quite honest, they are all copying Tenalytics, and the teaching is similar, the tools is similar. The onus is on you to do everything that you've been told to do. But where I have to give Tenalytics their flowers, where I dove my heart off to them, is in the mentorship and coaching session. It is top notch. I have to say special thank you to Efemina and Adeza, because they take your journey personally. It is personal to them. They want to ensure that you succeed. So right from the 4th week, I started applying for jobs. As and that time we've only done Excel, Power BI, and SQL. In fact, we've not even started SQL fully. But in the mentorship section, they keep telling me, just apply. When you see the job, you see the essential, all the criteria they put in there. I was told that it's all a shopping list. Don't discourage yourself. Don't disqualify yourself before the recruiter disqualify you. Because if you say, oh, I don't have everything, and then you don't apply, you're only knocking yourself out. So they drilled that into me, and in the mentorship and coaching section, they are bringing people from the industry, people who are working in there, and they are giving us tips. And I mean, the optimization of the CV, linking and everything, that is powerful. It's top notch. But I also have to give special flowers, special thank you to the person who prepped me for my interview, in the person of Joshua Akinola, who is the head of the BA program. Thank you so much. He believed in me much more than I believe in myself. And he's telling me, just apply for the position. Go for it. I'm sure you can do it. You got the industry knowledge and everything. And because initially I wanted to stay within the security of the civil service of the UK government. But guess what? This is exactly where I now have multiple offers as data scientist to work with the UK government. I can't thank you guys enough. It's been wonderful. And not only that, now I've got the offer. Now I can choose which of the positions I want to go into. I've now also been transferred into Amdari, where the support is still ongoing, where I can get to practice what I'll be doing. Because you can say, what is my background? Yes, I did computer science, but that was over 30 years ago, and I've never worked with it. But now, coming back into tech again, they make it so easy and so seamless, and I'm excited. And my advice to you, if you are coming now, regardless of the age, come on, look, I'm over 60, and I'm breaking into tech, so you can do it. You just have to put the time in there. Tenalytics are ready to support you. They will hold your hand, they will guide you, and I'll say, don't waste time. Come on board, join us, and I look forward to see you on the program. I will be coming back when they ask me to come and give testimonial live. I will do it because I am that excited. Thank you so much. God bless.
So that's Mr. Oladipo, phenomenal gentleman. At the age of 60, still able to transition. Absolutely phenomenal. All right. If you've had an amazing time from the beginning of the session up until now, just type in a yes into the chat because we're starting to wrap up. Okay, just type in a yes into the chat if you've had an amazing time so far. Yomi, Desmond, fantastic, brilliant. I agree with everything Mr. Oladipo said, apart from the fact that he said the teaching is similar. A lot of people copy what we do, no doubt about it, and we are proud of it. But at the same time, you have the most patient people, the most patient facilitators working with you, helping you to transition. And the journey, like he said, is personal to us because the more success we get, the more would have people to come, create videos like Mr. Oladipo, like Ramat, like God, so many professionals walking you through their journey and how they were able to do it. So your success is our success. And that's the way we take your journey with all level of seriousness. So as we come to the end of our session today, and for those who will be joining the February cohort starting next week, Saturday, you can't stay where you are. You can't continue doing what you've been doing. You can't be here today, listen to all of the things I've shared with you, the strategies, and remain where you are. To make a change in this year, 2026, you also have to change. All right. The next cohort starts on the 7th of February 2026. And for you to get started across all the programs that we offer, we have an amazing discount for you. Okay. And I'm going to be sharing the discounts we have for you. It's an amazing discount, 20% off the registration program. And all you have to do to get started, you don't have to make your payments in one full swoop. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through how to register for those of you starting next week. You would be able to take advantage of the program, of the discounts that we have. All right. So for all the programs, rather than paying $1,250, you get to pay just $1,000, 20% off. And you don't also have to make full payments to start. What it takes for you to start is just $150. All right. And I'm going to walk you through if you want to make payments in pounds, in euros, how does that happen? Now, this discount is available for those that want to start on the 7th of February, next week, Saturday, and only available for the first 20 people from today's session. If I want to register today at Deza, how do I go ahead to register? So you click on this link to register. My colleagues would share the link as well, but I'm going to walk you through how to do this step by step. Okay, so you click on that link, you can scan the QR code as well, and that gives you access to the enrollment page. And this is what the enrollment center looks like. Okay, so let's do it together step by step. So once you click on that link, it brings you here. You select the program you're interested in. I want to register for data analytics or for business analysis, or I want to register for the full stack data science program or for data engineering. Select any of the programs you're interested in, click on that. Okay, I want to be sure you can still see my screen. Yes, you can see. Okay, so I'm going to answer your question, Triumph. How can one with a nursing background, get into tech? I'll walk you through that as well. Okay, when we get to Q&A. So once you click on register or buy now, it brings you into where you can select the program you're interested in. Click on enroll now. Okay, and you'll be required to create an account. So I create an account, I enter my name, I enter an email. Okay. And I enter a phone number, and then I click on read. I've read the terms and conditions and create an account. So once I create an account, it takes me to where I'd see the discounts that I have and where to select the cohorts I'd like to join. The advantage you have if you're registering now for the February cohort is if February is not suitable for you, maybe you have some commitments, you can start in March. So we have cohorts from January all the way down to December. The only difference is the discount is not always available. Okay, so the discounts is available for the February cohorts. You can latch onto that, take advantage of it. If you want to start in February or start in March, select your preferred option. I always recommend that you want to start immediately. Start your journey. You start in February. In the next 5 months, the next 4 months, you would have started applying to jobs. If you listen to Mr. Oladipo, you don't wait until you are done. We advise you to start applying to jobs as early as possible. The moment you have the skills required that organizations want. So after 2 months, after 3 months, you start applying to jobs. And that's why you'd see a lot of people saying, I got my job even before I completed my program. I'm still doing my internship, but I've landed a job already. That's because you start applying immediately. Okay. So if you start in February, for example, give or take, by March, April, May, you start applying to jobs. By June, July, you might have just gotten that offer mid-year 2026. And that's why I advise always start as early as you can. Okay. So here you can select the payment options. This is where you can start. You can select a full payment, 2 monthly payments, 3 monthly payments, 4 monthly payments, and up to 5 monthly payments. So if I want to make payments in US dollars, for example, I can select that from here. So if I'm making a one-time payment, full payment at once, I get to pay just $975. So I get an additional $25 discount in addition to the already 20% off. Okay. Same if I'm making 2 monthly payments. All right. But if I'm making 3 monthly, 4 monthly, 5 monthly payments, instead of paying $1,250, I get to pay $1,000. You get the 20% off. So here you pay just $150 per month. Okay. To start, you pay $150 to start. All right. So this gives you an easy entry to get started. And then you spread the remaining $212 in the next 4 months. And if I'm making payments in pounds, I can select that as well. I get to pay £766 if I break my payments into 5 monthly payments. And I start with just £114. That's the money you spend one trip to Primark, one trip to Tesco, and so on. Okay. Or River Island, depending on where you shop. So £114 is what you get started with. And the next 4 months, you make the monthly payment of £162. So let's say I want to make my payment in 5 monthly payments. I select that. I click on apply discounts. And then it takes me to where I confirm all my details, confirm that my phone number is correct, and all of that. My email is correct. Now, my next payment date is on the 28th of February. So usually, because I'm making payment today is the 31st of January, the last day of the month. So the next payment comes in the last day in February. But for some of you, if your salary doesn't come in last day, you want to make payments when your salary comes in, you can always adjust the date right here. So I'm going to make my first payment today. The next payment, I want it to come up, say on the 25th or 26th, for example. Or I want to make my next payment on the 6th of March. You can make that adjustment right here. Okay. And then your first payment comes in today. You make the first payment, the second payment, 6th of March, and then you make the other monthly payments, April, May, and June. Okay. So I've confirmed, read all the terms and conditions, click on pay now. And this takes you to where you enter your card details. You can pay credit card, you can pay debit card, and so on and so forth. All right. So here I'm just going to enter this. Okay. Just show you how this works. Full name, enter your postcode, and then click on what? Pay. At the moment you click on pay, you make your first payment, your first installment, and this is what gets you started. Next week, Saturday, start your first class, start your journey into a high paying job. Okay, go to dashboard. You'd confirm your email. So an OTP would be sent to your email to verify your email. So check for the OTP. I'm just going to enter mine right here. So 670116. Okay, verify my email, and I'll just be required to complete a few other details. Country of residence, United Kingdom. You select that. Gender, select the gender, indicates the time, your preferred schedule. So if I'm in the UK, for example, I'm not available in the morning. I want to join the classes at 6 p.m. in the evening. I can select that. If I'm in the US, I want to join classes 11 a.m. Mountain Time, MST. Or I want to join the class in the morning in the UK, 11 a.m. BST. Select that. How did you find out about Analytics? Select one of the options. Oh, I saw you guys on LinkedIn. Okay. Enter an alternative email, your referral code, if there is any. And what made you register? Select what made you register. Oh, I was impressed with the structure of the platform. Oh, it is structured, organized. The testimonials were fantastic. How much can you commit per week? I can commit. We always recommend at least 1 hour per day. 1 hour per day. So between 4 to 6 hours or 7 to 10 hours per week. Select one of these options and click on complete setup. And this takes you into your learning management system. You'll be required to complete a checklist, okay, where you'd watch an introduction video. Your checklist involves downloading and installing the tools and technologies that you would need the first day in class. You have everything right there for you to complete that. And the moment you complete your checklist, all you have to do is wait for the very first class that starts on Saturday, the 7th of January. Okay, I'm going to take a breather right here at this point in time, and I want to take questions. All right, so I'd first of all go into the chat. I think I'll answer Triumph's question first, and then I'd come back to answer more questions. So Triumph is asking, how can one with nursing backgrounds transition into tech? We have a ton of them, Triumph, that have transitioned, and I'll show maybe just a few. Let me see. I'd look for that and show you. But the way they transition is simple. As a nurse, you already have some healthcare background, healthcare knowledge. How is that valuable to you? That is your domain knowledge. So you can get a job as a healthcare data analyst, as a healthcare informatics specialist, as a clinical data analyst. All right. And all you need to do is learn in a project-based environment by working on projects and also showcasing your work. So I'm going to show you a nurse that transitioned over 15 years experience, but she transitioned into tech. I'd look for the profile and I'll show you. So that's Evelyn. Evelyn is a nurse with over 15 years experience. Today, Evelyn is a data engineer. You have Dr. Arome. Dr. Arome has over a decade as a medical doctor, today as a physician, today he's a data analyst. You have somebody like Toyin. Toyin is a pharmacist, was a pharmacist back in Nigeria. Today she's a pharmacy data analyst with the NHS in the UK on full visa sponsorship. So how did they do it? The same way, the same strategies I gave to you today. They learned data using, they learned data using skills, the tools and technologies, analyzing healthcare related data. Okay. So they were able to take their background and their knowledge in healthcare and transition that into health tech roles, like the healthcare data analyst, the pharmacy data analyst, the pathology data analyst. Like this gentleman, for example, I think I showed him earlier. His name is Mawutin. Mawutin is a pathology data analyst with the NHS. How did he do it? He worked on healthcare projects during his training with us, built a portfolio. When he had interviews, we prepped him for interviews because we have worked with tons and tons of people that have gotten jobs with the NHS. So we have the NHS, different case studies from the NHS. If you have an interview today for a data analyst role, we can tell you the type of case studies you get, the type of questions you're going to get, and how to prepare for those interviews. All right. So everything I've taught you today applies to how you make that transition triumph. All right. So Ola, you have a discount. It's so flexible to start. $1,000, £766. You break it down into 5 months, and you don't even have to start. If you break 1,000 into five, that's 200 per month. You don't even have to start with 200. You're starting with 150, and you spread the others across the 4 months subsequently. Okay. So I'm going to take more questions and see. Do you have one-on-one session to help with clarity? Yes, Ifeanyiwa, we do have clarity sessions. Okay, for those who have more questions, maybe you want to ask specific tailored questions. But now here's the catch, and I need to mention this. Because the slots available are just 20, what we've seen happen is by Tuesday, all the slots are gone. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, sometimes by as early as Monday, all the slots are gone. So you come into the one-on-one session, you complete, get your questions answered, and now you're ready to start. And then you realize that, oh, the discount is off and I have to make the full payment. We see that all the time. And people saying, Adeza, I was in your session. You told me that there was a discount. What is going on? They're telling me the discount is off. What do I do? Okay. So you don't want to find yourself in that situation. If you're not paying $1,000 to start, if you miss out on the discount, you are paying $1,250 to start. Do you offer internship after the 18 months in after the 8 months in data science? The programs are 6 months learning. You learn for 6 months and then you intern for 2 months. That is what completes your 8 months transitioning, Francis. I hope that answers your question. You intern with Amdari. Okay, I'm gonna show you what Amdari looks like. Amdari is a sister company to Tenalytics, and that's where you gain work experience. All right, you gain work experience with Amdari. Okay, so you gain work experience with Amdari. If you go on LinkedIn, search Amdari, go on LinkedIn, search Tenalytics, and this is where you gain your work experience. All right. So employers, like I said, don't care about where you've studied, what you've done, and so on and so forth. What they want from you is your skills and your experience. So your internship would be done with Amdari while you learn with us at Tenalytics. I hope I answered that question. Is there an age limit? Precious, you didn't get to watch the video from Mr. Oladipo. Mr. Oladipo is over 60 and he recently transitioned. December, just last month, December 2025, he got this job. So it's very fresh, very new. One of the recent testimonials that we received. Age is not a limitation for you. We have an 18-year-old that got a job. He's in Nigeria. I'm going to share his. Let me see if I can find him here on my slide. Christian. Okay, his name is Christian. And let me tell you how Christian was able to land this job. His elder brother joined a session like this, but his elder brother already had a job and was not looking to transition. So Christian joined us September 2024. He was registered into the program by his brother. He did all the amazing stuff, learn, package, apply. And July last year, 2025, he landed a job as a data processor and analyst with Market Trends International. He made a post about it on LinkedIn. Okay, I'm going to show you what that post looks like. So Christian made a post where he talked about how he got the job. a very long post. He made this post 6 months ago. Okay. Against all odds, landed a tech role at 18. Okay. In September 2024, I was 17 at that time. My senior brother, who had always encouraged me to aim high, saw potential in me and paid for data analytics training program at 10 Analytics. His belief gave me the push. He said so many things. And at the end of the day, what happened? Okay, from late March onward, I sent out applications after applications, hoping for an opportunity. Rejection became a regular visitor. Eventually, what happened? I received a message from Market Trends International inviting me for an interview for the role of a data processor and analyst. And he posted his offer of employment when he landed the job. You can see all the reactions. I gave him a thumbs up right there. That's me on LinkedIn. And this is Christian. At the age of 17, he started. And at the age of 18, he landed his job. Okay. So to answer your question, you want to start as early as you can. If somebody at the age of 60 can transition, somebody at the age of 18 can land a job, then I'm sure you know the answer to your question. Let me see. Zackstorm is saying, just like Mr. Oladipo, who went into business analysis with the intention of working after retirement, can an agile project manager do the same? Absolutely. Everybody, anybody, all the career path. You can get started in any of the career path, work as a consultant, work as a contractor. There are so many contract roles available in the UK that pay £500 per day, £700 per day, and so on and so forth. Okay, if you go to read.co.uk, for example, and just do a quick search, you would see a ton of them where you can work remotely, you can work as a contractor, and so on. Let me see if we have more questions. I think I'll take one more question so that we can wrap up. But before I take that question from one of the people with their hands up, I'll come back to you to take your question. I want every one of you to go on YouTube. Okay. So go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. Search for Tenalytics. Okay. Go to YouTube. Search for Tenalytics on YouTube. You'd find Tenalytics on YouTube. Click on the logo. Make sure you're subscribed so that you get access to all the sessions, all the amazing materials. Click on the logo. It takes you to our YouTube page. Okay. Look for where you have alumni job success stories. I played just 2 videos for you, but there are over about 200 different videos right here for you on YouTube of professionals who have done and have achieved exactly what you want to do. Okay, so I click on this. It takes me to the full playlist. You can see Mr. Oladipo right here. Adebola, from a support worker to a business analyst. How I got a job as a financial analyst, months into my training with analytics. How I got a job as a SQL engineer in the US, 2 months after my training. This gentleman is in Egypt. He got a job with IBM as a data engineer. His name is Ahmed. Vanessa is in France. Vanessa got a job as a data scientist 3 months into the training. Like I said, you don't wait until you are done before you start applying. We push you to apply. Toyin only moved to Canada last year. She was less than a month in Canada, no Canadian work experience. She joined our Agile project management program, and Toyin landed a job. Okay, I'm going to show you Toyin's profile. Toyin worked with the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. Toyin Olusonya. Okay, again, if you go to Toyin's profile, you get to see Toyin worked as an assistant general manager with the NCAA, a chief planning officer with the NCAA. And Toyin was able to land a job as a project manager in Canada, Saskatchewan, Canada. Listen to Toyin's story. You'd hear how Toyin was able to make that transition less than a year after moving into Canada. This gentleman, Toluwa Leke, recently applied for the Global Talent Visa, is expecting his response He learned data engineering with us. He's landed a job already, but he wants to transition into the global talent visa. You have Judith, from a care worker to a business analyst. You have Emmanuel. He joined our financial analytics program. He works with the Bank of America in the US as a senior operations consultant, 6 months after training with us. This is Gad. I showed you Gad's profile on LinkedIn, how I got a sponsorship just a few months after my training with analytics, and so many other professionals. Okay. You need to listen to these amazing people. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, follow us across all platforms, and ensure you are up to date with all the amazing stuff that we have for you. Can someone without an educational background enter the tech industry? Yes, you can, Ogochuku. It's just going to be more difficult for you. Okay. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. If you don't have educational background, can you break into tech? Yes, you can. Because there are organizations that don't require you to have a degree. They don't take that as seriously as they take your skills and your experience. However, you'd find majority of the organizations across the globe today still requesting or requiring some level of higher education, maybe not a degree, but a diploma, a postgraduate diploma, a bachelor's degree, and so on and so forth. So yes, you can get a job, but you'll be competing with people that have degrees. And if a degree is one of the minimum requirements, it might just take you longer to transition. Okay. Is it possible to get a job as a business analyst with Tenalytics certificates with your HND? You have HND, which is higher education for you. Your background doesn't matter. My first degree was in industrial chemistry. Okay. Industrial chemistry. I have never worked as an industrial chemist. I've worked as a data analyst, data scientist, data engineer. William, civil engineering. Today he's a data analyst. Okay. So your background doesn't limit the type of opportunities you can get. All right. If you go to William's profile, William Archibong, all right, currently works as a strategy analyst at Marsh McLennan. You both worked at Tenalytics. If you go to his profile, data analyst with Tenalytics, he started his job October 2025. If you go all the way down to his education, Igbinedion University, Bachelor's of Engineering, Civil Engineering. He moved to Poland for his master's in civil engineering as well. So civil engineering has nothing to do with data analytics. But today he's a strategy analyst after completing his data analytics program with us. Okay. So let me take questions from David's iPhone, and I think we had one more person. But let me ask David, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Let's take your question before we call it a day today. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, David. Where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from London.
Fantastic. Go ahead. What questions do you have for me today, David?
Yes. Actually, I've registered, to start February 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that last week.
Okay.
So, but I've been thinking, I've been wondering, I was thinking maybe I would have to maybe I should have started from data analytics, then um move forward to business analyst, maybe at some point. So I was just a bit confused there. And then I was like, okay, it's like you have some programs in data analysis, analytics into business analysis already. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, maybe I don't need to start from there, you know. Maybe being a business analyst already, I already have some knowledge, of data analytics. I don't know, but I was hoping you could
Yeah. What
clear me
what
on
program
that.
did you register for?
Business analysis.
You registered for business analysis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What have you done in the last 3 years in terms of your work experience?
It's been more of I've been in the construction industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did you choose business analysis?
Uh, I was actually in one of the coaching sessions, for people that want clarification on what exactly to go into,
Okay.
and then I was advised by the co-founder to go for business analysis because I think it's because I've worked in a project environment or something, you
Okay.
know. Then
Which, of course, go ahead, please.
yeah, then before that, I spoke to there was a lady actually, one of the the teachers, so she said, when I told her I studied industrial physics, and then she said, she was initially recommending project management or business analysis. But when I now mentioned the fact that I studied industrial physics, she said, okay, okay, well, yeah, you are good with math. It's familiar. And then she started recommending courses like data engineering, data analysis, or data analytics.
Who
Now,
recommended that to you?
I forgot her name, Linda or Lola. Oh, she's,
Okay. Okay. So
yeah,
let me help you. Let me help you, David. All right.
yeah.
Now, there's usually an endless confusion on what to do. What career path do I move into? Because to be frank with you, all these career paths, the 10 of them, are all high in demand. Okay. Now, you studied
Yeah.
physics. Oh, you're familiar with numbers. You're not going to have an issue with that. Maybe I want to get into this career path, or maybe I want to get into something else. Now, what I always recommend, I studied industrial chemistry.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I studied industrial chemistry. Okay.
yeah,
I studied industrial chemistry. Now, while studying industrial chemistry, did I have anything related to data analytics with industrial chemistry? No, zero, zero relationship. Same with physics, zero relationship.
yeah,
Okay. Now
yes.
we can start to look at, oh, did you do some math in physics? Did you do some math in industrial chemistry? Could that play as an advantage for you or not? Most of the time, it really doesn't matter. I always advise to come from the point of your past work experience. What have you done before? Okay. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned something that you've worked around in a project environment.
Yes,
And the
yes,
reason why this is important, I'm going to use this lady's profile to, highlight my point again. That's Tony's profile. Now, Tony got a job as a project manager in Canada, Saskatchewan. Okay.
yeah,
What helped her get this job? Because we helped her work on her CV and her LinkedIn. She had worked in planning. And as a planning officer, you definitely would have carried out some responsibilities that are related to project management.
okay,
Okay. For example, coordinated and facilitated planning retreats, monitored and evaluated project performance, managed departmental budgets. Okay.
yeah,
These are her work experience that we were able to tailor to project management because she wanted to do project management. This helps a lot. Looking at what you've done, your past experience, where are the transferable skills? Because you don't want your past experience to be useless. You want to use it while making that transition. So, as a business analyst, project management, a business analyst responsibilities cuts across three major areas. Number one is data. Number two is project management. And number three is your core role as a BA. So that's why you start with Excel, Power BI, and SQL, not to the level or the extent to which the data analyst would learn data. Because as a business analyst, your responsibility is not to analyze data on a day-to-day basis.
yeah,
All right. You would
yeah,
also learn project management. You would learn agile. the agile methodology, the Scrum framework. You'd learn how to use tools like Jira, Trello, Confluence, Azure DevOps, and so on for your project management, managing, tracking deliverables, collaborating on projects, and so on and so forth. It is easy to tie this to the past work experience and what you've done. Okay. So
Yeah.
always come at it from the angle of what have I done before? What can be translated into my work experience and so on and so forth. Translated into the new career path I'm trying to move into. So from what I've heard you say so far, David, there are two things. One career path I would say is I think you've made the right decision to register for the business analysis career path. The only other area that I would say you can consider is agile project management based on your past work experience. And you are based in the UK, correct?
Yes.
In terms of sponsorship, maybe this would help you, reach a conclusion. In terms of sponsorship, in terms of absolute numbers. So absolute numbers in the sense that how many jobs per day are available for the business analysts, for the project managers. You have more business analyst roles available than project management.
Really?
This doesn't mean that project management is not in high demand. So it's like saying that I have 400 jobs per day available. If I go on LinkedIn, read.co, CV library, and so on, 400 BA jobs. And project management, I have 250 per day. It doesn't mean project management is not high in demand because 250 is also high in demand. And these are
Yeah.
arbitrary numbers, but I'm just trying to explain my point. 250 is high in demand. 400 is just higher in demand. Okay. So the career paths are high in demand, but one is higher in demand, and that's the BA in terms of the absolute numbers.
Oh,
So I don't know if this would help you come to a conclusion because sometimes your past experience has zero, nothing to do with the career path you are moving into. Just like me, I studied industrial chemistry. I worked for the most part of my career as a data analyst, data engineer,
yeah. Yeah.
data scientist,
Oh,
and so
wow.
many other people who today, the gentleman, the 60-year-old that is a business analyst today with the civil service,
Yeah.
he's always worked as a border control officer. Okay. So he's never done anything business analysis, but his experience involved managing people, managing stakeholders, asking questions, interviewing. These are skills you pick up that are transferable to the business analysis career path. I don't know if that helps you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It does. It does help. It does help.
So
And
don't try to confuse yourself and or go through a
yeah,
cycle of I want this, I think it is this, I think it is that, and so on. Choose a career path. Focus is the most important. And focus is not David saying that this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to double down on it. No. Focus is eliminating the alternatives. David saying that data analytics is a possibility, data science is a possibility, project management is a possibility, but I'm going to take them out and focus on business analysis, give it all my best, do all the things I need to do. And just like the people I've seen, I'll just be giving my own story on how I got a job in a few months' time. If that
yeah,
helps, David.
yeah. Okay. I just have two more questions. I'll make it quick.
Go
And
ahead.
there's two things about me. Okay, I like finding, dying to find information. I like to dig. It could take me hours doing it, but I don't feel bored about it. And I feel fulfilled when I find that information or trying to research about something. And
Mhm.
another thing is also I'm quite good with speaking to people. I don't find that as a problem. I did some marketing
Brilliant.
before I came here, you know,
Brilliant.
and also working in the construction. That's much of what I've been doing. So that I'm working in the construction industry, like project environment, or I'm doing some a bit of marketing or here and there. So
Yeah.
those are some aspects about me. I just wanted to I have a curious mind. I just wanted to uh tell you that then,
Yeah, fantastic, David. So you see that aspect of finding information, researching, diving deep into something to get insights, to extract information. That's where Excel, Power BI, and SQL comes in. Analyzing data, researching, getting insights, okay, from data and coming up with a recommendation. One of the things that is also a deal breaker when it comes to choosing a career path, your personality. Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? If you are not somebody that likes speaking, that likes talking, that is comfortable making a presentation, I don't recommend business analysis for that person. Because as a BA, you'd make presentations, you would, speak to people and things like that. You're going to organize workshops, focus group sessions. You're going to interview people and things that border around, you know, working with people, managing people, and you say you love to
Yeah.
speak to people. So that's a core skill required. You see elicitation, this is asking the right questions to get the type of answers that you want. Stakeholder analysis and engagement. You're going to deal with your customers, external stakeholders, the internal stakeholders, the employees, the head of departments, head of units, and so on and so forth. So these are skills. You have the right skills to fit into this role perfectly, the business analysis role. And I look forward to
Okay.
working with you on this, David.
Yeah. So one more question, please.
Yeah.
I was a chat GPT throughout last night. About this whole thing I'm asking you now,
Yes,
just to be sure. I just needed somebody to talk to anyway. So then
absolutely.
he was talking about KPI. This key performance indicator.
Yes.
So it was like that. Some most it's like I couldn't find that in your curriculum when it mentioned it to me. So I was checking, I didn't find KPI. So it was talking
Okay.
about KPI design, KPI definition,
Yes.
and he said
Yes.
not just reporting, that even if you guys do it, it's more of just reporting. But he was talking about how to
Yeah.
define it, design and challenge it. I was like,
Absolutely.
wow. And he said it
Yeah.
was difficult to teach beginners because it's more strategic. So I'm like, but then you guys, your course are beginner friendly. So is it that you
Yes.
guys are not including it? Anyway, can you explain?
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. So again, doing your research. So I don't know if time would permit, but what I want you to do is go to the program. What I'm showing you here on my slide is high level, the key learning areas. There's a breakdown of, if you go to the curriculum, there's a breakdown of everything. And I can tell you categorically that you'll find if I open up Introduction to SQL, for example, can you see everything under Introduction to SQL?
Yes.
SQL functions, um, KPI design is in one of this. Okay, I'm not sure which one exactly right now, and because of time, but break it down, open all of this, and I'm telling you categorically that one of the major areas for you as a business analyst, for a data analyst, are KPIs, tracking, monitoring KPIs. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
way organizations also measure their performance. Now, for a beginner, you don't just jump into designing, learning KPIs and all of that. No. And that's why I emphasized a whole lot on the progressive way that you get to learn and working in a project-based environment as the way that you get to learn. So you're not just going to learn what KPIs are all about. You're going to learn how to track those KPIs. You're going to learn how to monitor those KPIs. You're going to learn how to design those KPIs and so on and so forth. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's in the curriculum. All right.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
and that's where you'd find it.
All right. You've dealt with this.
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Under your
yeah.
Excel, they're like, you have under SQL, under Excel, under Power BI, you have tons of things that you get to learn. We can't list every single thing here in the key learning areas, but it's in the curriculum. So go through the
Yeah.
curriculum, you'd find the nitty-gritty of the specifics that you'd get to learn. All right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I mean, you guys this is a dream come true for me. I'm really happy to do this. And then
Absolutely.
you keep saying one could actually get a job in 3 weeks, 3 months, after applying, learning the course. How is that? I mean, that sounds magical. It sounds too good to be true.
It's not in any way magical. It's happened, and it's happened so many times that It's become a strategy for us. And how does this play out? It's very simple. Let me open this, let me share my screen again and practically show you how this happens. Okay. Now, the key learning areas as a business analyst, you have 9 key learning areas. Those 9 areas, let's take the first one, which is Excel, Power BI, and SQL. You have multiple things you'd learn using Excel, multiple things you'd learn using Power BI, multiple things you'd learn using SQL. The moment you are done with your Excel, your Power BI, and SQL, we push you to start applying to jobs. I'm going to play Mr. Oladipo's video again, and I want you to listen to him. He said, I started applying to jobs before I even completed SQL.
Jesus
Because,
Christ.
yes, one thing you would find is organizations sometimes require specific set of skills. There's a lady that got a job, and it might seem like I'm digressing, but I'll come back to this. This lady, I think I have her on my slide. Yes. It's a visa sponsored job with the NHS. And guess the tool they wanted her to have? Excel and SQL. That was all.
Wow.
Only Excel and SQL. Ikmat, her name is Ikmat. Ikmat told them, one of the things that made them bring Ikmat on board during her interview was that she told them that I will change your reports from Excel to Power BI. That was one of the catch for them. They were not even using Power BI.
My goodness.
In that department. So she told them that I will bring a Power BI as an addition to this role. And when you look at the data analytics program,